Not everyone here is super confident on themselves, and especially when you are just starting out your journey as an entrepreneur, indecisiveness, lack of self-confidence, and tons of criticism might ruin it all for you. Don't let that happen to you! Hi, my name is Olga, and if you're new to this channel, subscribe and click that notification bell to not miss all the new videos coming out. And I promise to deliver value and value only on this channel. And if you're a veteran here, welcome back. Now, if you're a new entrepreneur, I'd like to share with you 9 tips of how to avoid negativity in your business, and that relates to both yourself and the people surrounding you. Now, don't get me wrong, entrepreneurs need to listen to constructive criticism, but avoid negative thoughts and negative vibes at all costs. If you're a complainer and you want to start a business, think again. The world of entrepreneurship is harsh, full of risk and full of fraud risk as well, so there is no place and no space for negativity and no place for excuses as well. I will also mention here that you should avoid being a negative person yourself, and you should avoid attracting negative people to your team, especially negative thinking partners. Now, why do I mention here that it's all about shy entrepreneurship? Because there are people who are naturally self-confident and they have that air of self-confidence that that beats up all the negativity surrounding them, and they either not notice those negative vibes at all, or they somehow reflect those negative vibes and don't pay attention to them and just keep moving. But I believe most people are not as sure of themselves. I, on my part, definitely am not, and I consider myself to be a shy entrepreneur because for the first 6 months of my operating in business, I have not mentioned myself being in business because I was actually shy to mention that to people that I know. Well, who am I to say that I'm an entrepreneur, a business person? Who am I to say that? Because I don't have any constructive results, anything to show yet. So until I reach my 1 million, I'm not considered to be a business person. I had this way of thinking. So I believe this type of thinking might relate to some other people. So this is why I'm making this video. And the first tip I have for you is become self-aware. When you feel negative thoughts coming in, just get rid of them at all costs. For example, instead of saying, okay, so I will never get investments for my business, say something like, let's try this different approach. Maybe these guys could help us, or maybe this program could help us. So transform your negative thoughts into something positive, into something constructive, so that you should not be the one complaining. Avoid complaints and excuses at all costs. There is no excuse in business, and especially you as a business owner should have no excuses. The next tip I have for you is redirect the conversation. When it's not about you, but it's about people that you're talking with, interacting with, and you feel that that person starts complaining and attracting those negative vibes, whining. If this is your employee, for example, or someone you're just working with, just redirect the conversation, change the topic so that you're not participating in any of those negative moments. Not a minute. For example, if you hear someone saying, I hate demanding customers, the customers are so stressful and they demand so much, say, at least we have customers. So try to redirect the conversation or change the topic entirely. For example, I hate demanding customers. Oh, look, we have a new collection coming in, so I'm sure many customers would love it. So try to redirect the conversation so that you don't have to speak to discuss that negative topic anymore. Another tip I have for you is to replace negative thought with a positive image. Again, if you feel negative vibes crawling in yourself, then you have to, again, reapproach yourself and work on yourself. So that, for example, if you have to work late and you start to think, well, again, I'm working late, just try to replace that thought with a positive image. For example, imagine how you will spend weekend after what you have done during the business week, or what kind of results it will attract. For example, if you have to work late on the project, you know that that project, for example, brings you money. So think about money, so not about the project that you're working on right now, but maybe money could be a motivation for you, or maybe customer satisfaction, or maybe a praise from your customers, and so on. Just replace those negative thoughts with positive images. That's the thing you have to do in order to change your mindset, because you're the main person in your company. If you're a negative thinker, you're doomed to fail. The next tip I have for you is don't try too hard to convert other people. If you feel like other people start to talk negatively, and if there is a group of people, you find yourself surrounded by a group of people talking negatively and attracting those negative vibes, just don't participate in the conversation. If there is no way you can avoid that conversation and just walk out of that conversation somewhere, at least don't participate in it. Choose silence, don't say a word, and let your positive results speak for you. Because if you start to convince others that, guys, you're wrong, you're all deadly wrong, you might end up alienating those people against yourself, and that negativity that is directed somewhere else will be directed towards you, and you definitely don't want that to happen. So don't try too hard. You have to teach with your results and not with your words. And another one comes naturally, and that is distance yourself when possible. If you can walk out of that conversation, do. Excuse yourself, for example, sorry, I need to talk to that person, or sorry, I need to make a call, or sorry, I have an appointment, or sorry, I need to drink water, my throat is too dry, or anything. Just any excuse would do, and you just walk out of that conversation, of that surrounding, of those people, and try to somehow refresh yourself and think of something positive before coming back, because negative people will draw you into their reality pretty soon, and you might, this is contagious. This definitely is contagious, so don't let that happen to you. Another one is pretty tough, but this is pretty effective as well. So as soon as you can master it, you can consider yourself to be a professional in dealing with negative people, and that is putting an invisible mental shield. This is something like, imagine yourself, have you seen Harry Potter and that cloak of invisibility? So imagine yourself, Harry Potter, wearing that cloak, when you can see everyone and nobody can see yourself. So when you find yourself in a negative situation that you cannot change in any way, just put on that cloak and become a silent observer. A silent observer who just doesn't belong to this situation and who doesn't belong to these people. You just watch and walk away. And this will protect your mind from that excessive load of negativity, and that is crucial. That is actually a technique that athletes use when training themselves for all sorts of competitions and for Olympic Games, I believe, as well. Another one is my favorite, and that is to create a private retreat. And I should say that this works great. If you can find some offline place to, for example, if you feel that negativity is excessive at the moment and the pressure is excessive at the moment, and that there is too much to deal with, so you cannot fight it back or reflect it or deal with it in any way, take a break. Take a break, and if you can find some offline place, go to that offline place. It can be bathroom, it can be bedroom, it can be your home office, it can be a garden, it can be even staircase. When I worked in a corporate environment and there was literally nowhere to go to because there were people everywhere, I chose staircase. I just walked up and down the staircase and I tried to calm down, and this really helped. But when you work, for example, if you are a home-based entrepreneur and there is no way you can stand up and go, because wherever you go, your thoughts remain with you, create yourself an online retreat. For example, when I feel that the pressure and the stress becomes too excessive, I just close all the tabs related to my business activities. I mean, to all my multiple business activities. I close all the tabs. and I open fantasy book. So this is a sort of retreat for me. So fantasy or fiction book or whatever that I feel that I will be distracted with, because I need a distraction sometimes when there is multiple of important and burning issues coming in, and all the negativity or criticism or any negative situation that I just can't deal with right in the moment because the stress is too excessive. I close all the working tabs and I open some fantasy book or some fiction book, or because I'm a fan of this. And I just transfer myself from the world of problems to the world of problems of other sorts. You know, fighting the dragons is easier than fighting, the customers or your partners or your employees or your competitors. So just transfer yourself from one world to another, where you will be able to breathe out and then breathe in again when you will see all those pile of negativity, not as a pile of negativity, but as a sort of things that you have to deal with one by one. Now, what sort of a private retreat you personally could have? Let me know in the comments below. Another one is transferring the responsibility. So by transferring the responsibility, again, you take off the mental load of your mind, all the negative load of your mind, and transfer it somewhere else. For example, if you're being pressed against the wall by someone who assumes that everything is your fault, or who never takes responsibility for themselves, just ask that person, okay, so what do you intend to do about it? Or, okay, so how do you think that we should cope with this situation? And, well, other questions are possible, but you got the idea. Just transfer the responsibility for whatever happened to that person who's negative about what's happening and who rants and whines and cannot seem to want to take any role in it. So by transferring the responsibility, you take the negativity off and make that person think in a positive way as well. And if that person doesn't want to, then at least he or she will stop complaining, because they will understand that they should take part in the solution finding as well. And the same approach works when you have, again, too much on your plate and the negativity and stress becomes too much. Again, direct responsibility. Transfer the things that you can transfer, and transfer them to people who might solve them perhaps even better than yourself. For example, if this is some sort of a financial problem, transfer that to another person, to your partner, to your business partner, or to your financial advisor, or to whoever you find that could help you in this situation and at this moment. Just transfer the responsibility, and this will take off the negativity, at least a part of it, off your mind, and you will be able to solve all the rest of your problems, and then maybe come back to that first problem that you transferred. But at least you will be able to think positively, to think constructively. And another tip I have for you, and I believe this one is the most important, one of the most important in dealing with negativity, with both your inner negativity and outer negativity. So and that is to forgive your lapses. We are all people here, we are all humane, and we all make mistakes, and sometimes there are situations that you cannot predict and that you cannot find. Your computer might crash, your deadline might be broken, and not because of you, it might be because of the customer, and so on and so forth. So just and if you start complaining and you realize that you are complaining, don't blame yourself. Just accept the fact that we are not perfect, none of us is, and just accept that fact and forgive yourself. Forgive yourself, because that's not how you will achieve positive results. Forgive yourself for any lapse that you might have, because it's just a human factor. It will happen, because that's just how things are. So don't be too hard on yourself. The last thing I want to tell you is that trying to live as complainers, that is including yourself and your closest surroundings, is not only bad for your well-being or your mental state, but it will also affect your business in a bad way. And in today's environment, in today's business world, you cannot live like that. You cannot be negative. It will ruin you. So don't let that happen to you, and don't take part in any negative conversations, any negative vibes that are happening around you. You might be shy, but you should never be pessimistic. Pessimism creates dark reality. When you let your pessimistic thoughts crawl in, you will find yourself surrounded by a pessimistic environment pretty soon. Again, you don't want that to happen. I definitely don't want that to happen to you. So basically, my advice is avoid negative people. Don't get into conversations with negative people and try to get away from it as soon as you found yourself surrounding with negative vibes. And third, don't become one of them. Don't become a negative person. That will ruin your business for sure. Not you, but your business. That's definitely. Okay, so that's all I have for you today. Don't forget to grab your free template checklist of how to start your home-based company, and there will be another business plan template, so you can download both and let me know on your results. I'd love to hear your feedback. Thanks for watching till the very end. Have a great week, have amazing mood, and go and show them all. Bye!